In Google Forms, you can take any form that you've created and turn it into a quiz. I've created a form called How Well Do You Know Friends about the TV show. So to turn my form into a quiz for my friends, what I want to do first is go up to my settings and look at some of my options here. One option to pay attention to is respondents can edit after they submit it or see the summary charts and text responses. If you want your students or your friends to be able to change their initial response, keep edit after submit. Otherwise, uncheck that. If it's a quiz, you may or may not want them to be able to do that. I'm going to go ahead and let my students edit their responses. So I do want to make this a quiz. And I can choose how I want them to see their grades. They could get their grade immediately after they submit it, or maybe I want to wait a little while. That's an option too. Maybe I want to look at their scores before I release their grades to them. You can also decide what your respondents can see, whether they can see which questions they missed, what the correct answers were, and what the points values were. In this case, I want to be my students to be able to see all of that information, so I'm going to leave all of that checked, and I'm going to save those settings. So I have a few different questions here. My first question is multiple choice. My second question is a checkbox. My third question is a text question. And my fourth question is a matching question. Google can auto-score the first two. It can auto-score multiple choice and checkboxes. It cannot auto-score matching and text. So we'll talk in a little bit about how to grade those. To get a grade from auto scoring for your questions, you want to edit your question. And now that we're in quiz settings, we'll have this box that pops up and says answer key. You can choose how many points you want your question to be worth. I'm going to make this a 25-point question. 4 questions for the quiz, so my students can get 100 if they're each 25 points. You want to choose your correct answer. Let's see, Monica marries Ross. And then if you want, you can give your students some feedback. So maybe for an incorrect answer, I want to say, nope, try again. And for a correct answer, I'm going to say, way to go. If I wanted, I could also give my students a link here, maybe to help them along. I'm not going to do that now, but that is an option. So I'll save that. So the correct answer is worth 25 points. Hey, wait a minute. That's not the correct answer. That's better. The feedback for correct answers, way to go. Incorrect answers, nope, try again. Okay, so that one is set up. Google will auto score that question for me. Let's look at the next one, at the checkboxes. So I'm going to edit this question. And when I'm doing my answer key, I want to check everything that is true. Well, Joy's family is Italian. Rachel's surname was Green, but the group didn't hang out at Central Park. They hung out at that coffee shop named Central Perk. Ha, okay. Let's make this another 25-point question. I'm not going to give feedback this time, but that's an option. And this is another type of question that Google can auto score for me. So that's great. Looking at the next question, this one is a text question, and Google cannot auto score this. However, it does have a neat feature that I'm going to use. If you open the answer key, see, I can assign points to this question, but there's not a place to give the correct answer. If I want, I could maybe give my students a hint. So whether they get it right or wrong, they're going to get that little hint that'll maybe clue them in to what the answer was, but I can't actually score it. It doesn't know how to do that just yet. What I can do, and this is pretty neat, if I click on edit question, is I can make this into a response validation question. So Phoebe writes a song about Smelly Cat. So I'm going to choose text. Cat is the word I'm wanting them to type in here. So my text contains the word cat. So let's say that my students start to type something else. I maybe want to give them a hint that we're talking about a smelly feline here. Okay, so I'm looking for them to type the word cat. Now, a note to keep in mind here, this is case sensitive. So if they type that in with an uppercase cat, it's not going to work. It's going to force them to correct it until it's lowercase. We'll preview what that looks like in a minute. And then this last question down here, this one does not have an answer key option because this is not one that Google is going to auto-grade, and it's not going to give them feedback on that. So let's go ahead and send this quiz and see what it looks like. All right, Monica marries Chandler. The top two are true. See what happens if I start to say Phoebe writes about smelly dog. Oh, it gave me a clue to let me know I'm on the wrong track. How about if I do this? Nope, I'm not going to take that. I have to match it perfectly. And then I have my matching question. This isn't right, it's just how I'm answering it right now. And I'm going to submit my form. So I can view my score. If I want, I could change my mind. I could edit my response. I could also resubmit the form and submit another response. Let's look at my score. All right, 25 out of 25. Way to go. 25 out of 25. Okay, now, not sure what to do with that question, so I didn't really get any points there. And then here's my matching. So I got some feedback. I could maybe have a hunch that I got that right. Really, I know that I got it right, though, because of the response validation feature. Okay, so that's what it looks like when your students take the quiz. I'm going to make a separate video, and we'll talk about how to grade the other questions using the Flubaroo add-on.